Millions of birds pass through Albanian lagoons every year as they make their way to the north. Well, this journey is significant for migratory birds from different species traveling between Northern Europe and Africa. It's an annual event, but their numbers are in steep decline. Why are they missing and what has disrupted their journey? Adam Amunu reports.
Albania's Vian Lagoon is a Garden of Eden for birds that migrate along its coast. An area covering more than 7,400 acres along the Adriatic Sea. Millions of nearly 200 species like flamingos, ducks and teals pass through these wetlands from Northern Europe to Africa in search of food. But scientists fear what has long been a paradise is gradually becoming anything but. They say numbers are mainly declining because of rising temperatures caused by the climate crisis.
Zona ligadinore e Kunevajinit ka qenë një nga zonat më të preka për sa i përket ndryshimit klimaterike, ku nga rezultatet edhe të censusit të bërë gjatë muajit janar, kemi një rënje të numrit të popullatave të shpendëve.
In February, the Convention on the Conservation of Migratory Species of Wild Animals released the first ever State of the World's Migratory Species report. It suggests at least 40% of the total migratory bird population face a population decline because of the climate crisis. Along with global warming, poaching and loss of habitat are responsible too. And that's also having a devastating effect on the local community. Fishermen here blame warmer waters for the decline of fish, which are vital food supplies for the birds as well as humans.
Këto varen nga faktor, sidomos kjo faktori kryesor që është në gjithë botën, ngrohja globale, e dyta është kjo futja e gaforrës bluhe që i zhduk këto ngjalen edhe shumë peshqe, plus edhe.
Ornithologists from the region, scientists who study every aspect of birds, have built sites to help birds breed safely. But unless the climate crisis is tackled, these efforts may not be enough. And the question remains, how many birds will still migrate in this region until then? Adam Amunu, Across the Balkans.
To look closer into this, Albanian ornithologist Mirjan Topi joins me now from Tirana. Great to have you with us, Mr. Topi. We've heard there in Adama's story, there were 40% fewer wintering birds in January. What is the main reason for this, beside climate change? That is, of course, an important factor.
Well, first of all, thank you for the invitation. It is true that 2024 actually noticed one of the least figures on the number of total individuals of water birds that has been counted at least in the last 10 years along the International Water Bird Census, or what it is differently called as mid-winter counts. And the factors behind this, in my opinion, they are different. So there is a combination of factors, and each of them is responsible to a certain extent for this situation. One of the factors, in my opinion, is the loss and degradation of the wetland habitats. For instance, in Albania, in the past century, Albania lost almost half of the wetland habitats. And in this century, the degradation and the habitat loss of the wetlands is still continuing. In particular, for instance, with the new law of protected areas that have been approved by the parliament just now recently, it is open way for construction of mega touristic resorts in protected areas and wetland habitats. So it is expected that this situation will continue in the future.
What can be done to reverse this?
I mean, so far we have been draining wetlands, we have been degrading their ecological quality. So now it's time to turn back to nature some of the things that we have taken. So for instance, there are opportunities, particularly in Albania, to bring wetlands back. What do I mean by this? For the ones who do not know, but in the second half of the last century in Albania actually got in Albania actually was installed a centralized economy which actually drained a lot of the wetlands. But after the fall of the centralized economy, all these lands got abandoned, and some of them they are getting naturalized. So if we would leave these lands like this, then some of the wetland areas will come back. But what we are doing now, we are actually turning them into industrial surfaces like solar panels or other construction for the industry. So one option is to turn back to nature what we have been taking so far, and the other option is, of course, to preserve the quality of the remaining wetlands. You know, for instance, in Albania, Albania is a country which is actually in the Adriatic and the Ionian Sea. We have plenty of rivers, and so on. We have a very good network of wetlands.
Exactly. Why is Albania a very important country for migratory birds? Because of its location?
As you know, of course, as you know, birds migrate. So Albania, it is one of the most important segments of one migration route, which is called the Adriatic Flyway. So in order for birds to be able to migrate, they need to stop in different spots to rest and to feed. For instance, it's the same like us when we are taking a long journey, we need to stop to fuel the car, to rest, and then continue the journey to our destination. So many birds that are nesting in Northern Europe, even Siberia, they fly through Albania to go to the wintering grounds in Africa and on the way back in spring. So at least twice a year, Albania becomes a temporary home for hundreds of thousands of birds, for not saying millions, if we consider here also the songbirds or the passerines. So that is why Albania is a very important country, because it's an important segment of the Adriatic Flyway.
Thank you again for being our guest on Across the Balkans.
Thank you very much.
That's it for this week. See you next time. Bye-bye for now.